Hey everyone, welcome to Outside of Work, where we explore who we truly are beyond our job titles. I'm Gentrix. And it only took me 16 episodes, besides the first episode of the podcast, to actually say my name at the beginning of it. I didn't even realize I never said my name. So for those of you who might have been listening, thinking, how the heck do you pronounce this girl's name? It's Gentrix. Summer, I'm telling you, I'm not going to stop talking about it. I'm not going to stop talking about summer because it is my favorite season. I am so sad that it's just whizzing by like it has some place to be. But, I'm just trying to soak up as much of it as I can. My siblings and I, we went to the beach. We had a nice beach day, just soaking up the sun, just chilling, gabbing, doing TikTok dance challenges. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to be taking my little brother to college. We're going to be dropping him off. Oh my goodness. What is life? How is he already 18? How is he already going to college? But that's what we're going to be doing. And that's really going to wrap up our summer. But other than that, just trying to soak it all in. I know it's been many weeks since this news came out, but I did want to talk about it a little bit. And that is about Stephen Colbert's show, The Late Show, getting canceled from CBS. Sure, there's the issue of Paramount's merger with Skydance and the political issue of the Trump administration not really liking Stephen Colbert. And in order for this merger to go through, Skydance and Paramount kind of had to give a little to the administration. However way you think about that, that is very fascinating to me as a person who works in media as to how we are catering to politics. It really worries me when it comes to freedom of speech, when it comes to media and the press being able to say whatever it is that they want to say in this current time that we are. So that was everybody saw the writing on the wall. Y'all want a merger, so you're going to do anything you want, anything you can in order to get that through. And unfortunately, Stephen Colbert's show kind of went down in order to make the merger happen. Stephen Colbert is not new to the Late Show game or even having a show of his own. He had the Colbert Report way back when, where he played a satirical character. Amazing, did numbers. And he was amazing on the Late Show as well, taking over from David Letterman, who had the show before that. I loved Stephen's response to the whole cancellation and everything that happened. And let me play you a part of it that I just found really great.
Over the weekend, it sunk in that they're killing off our show. But they made one mistake. They left me alive. What just happened? Did I black out? Was he here? And now... And now for the next 10 months, the gloves are off. I can finally, I can finally speak unvarnished truth to power and say what I really think about Donald Trump, starting right now.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That was the best response ever, because he said, y'all are firing me 10 months in advance? Well, guess what? Gloves are off. Literally anything goes. And that really gets me too. I cannot imagine after being laid off, then being told, oh yeah, nah, you still gonna work for us for 10 more months. I'm sorry, huh? I don't even have a job after 10 months. I am so curious to see what this show is gonna turn into now that, hey, you're gonna cancel me anyway. I think he's gonna push the line as close to the line as possible. One, because I hear Stephen is a gentleman, a very big gentleman, very nice, very courteous. But he has a way of still hitting back and making it funny and making it visceral. So it's so curious to see. And it's not even put politics aside. Imagine you were told that you were going to be fired, whatever, you're gonna lose your job in 10 months. How would you do at that job? And I'm also very curious to see where he goes next. Is he gonna step back like Jon Stewart did and go off to a farm in New York or New Jersey and just live his life? What is Stephen gonna do now that the show that was synonymous to who he is and, the great entertainer that he's become is now going to be no more? What is that next step for him? Where will he lean more into? Will he go into the digital space like a lot of people have? What is going to happen next? So I just think that's this story just is so interesting to me because it mixes together media, politics, and people at the, behind the scenes who are really getting hurt. There are people who have families to take care of. The people I need to, figure out in this crazy job market where you could barely get a reply back, for a job, what the heck they're going to do. And so it has a lot of consequences. It has a lot of layers to it that come, May? What is that going to look like for Steven, for his staff, and for America, really? And freedom of speech. Okay, so in today's episode, I have my good friend, Lauren Sawyer. Lauren and I met 10 years ago. Oh my God. Lauren and I met 10 years ago during a media fellowship. It was called the IRTS, the International Radio and Television Society Summer Fellowship in New York City, where we get to meet amazing industry leaders, learn about the media industry, and also get an internship coupled with it. And so that meant, though, we lived in New York City. I literally was my own little Carrie Bradshaw in the summer of 2015, living my best life in New York City, without having to pay the rent because we stayed in the NYU dorms. And so she lived across the hall from me, and we just started talking, and we really connected. And I think we connected even more after the fellowship because she does a really good thing in keeping in touch with people. I tell Lauren, you're a really good friend because you don't just dip in and out whenever. She's very consistent in keeping contact with me. And honestly, if she didn't, I don't think we would still be friends. I'm trying to be a better friend in that way, to be more intentional and more thoughtful. And so it was really after the fellowship that we grew even closer. And we grew close in the fact that we're in the media and trying to get a job. It is hard out here. So we are always referring each other to jobs, her more so than me because she goes out of her way to make connections and then put those connections together. And Lauren has been able to transition from traditional television, like I'm in news, into marketing. And she is a badass at it. She's very good, very well organized. And we really grew closer even so when I got laid off last year. And we were kind of in the same boat because I believe she had also lost her job. And so we're going back and forth, trying to help each other out, going to different events together and trying to make sure that we're okay on the other end of it. Because while, yes, we want to have a good job and all that, we need to be able to afford to live where we are. Her in New York, me in New Jersey. It is not easy out here. So having each other's back was absolutely paramount. Lauren is also one of the only people that I can talk about faith and religion to. I don't really like talking to other people about my own faith because I believe that I kind of walk differently in my faith in the way that feels right, the way that feels good to me. It kind of falls counter to how some Christians or how some Catholics live their lives. And I think that's okay because to me, it makes sense. And so it's always been a struggle to talk to other people about religion because then I just get I'm made to feel as if I'm not enough, if that makes sense. But Lauren, she always makes me feel like I'm enough and we can have those difficult conversations together. She actually has her own faith-based podcast called Rise and Come Alive, where she interviews Christian businesswomen. And so this day we recorded my podcast and then we recorded her podcast. And it's really a look inside working women and how their faith kind of intersects with that. Again, I never would have had this conversation with anybody else, but Lauren just makes me feel so comfortable and she's just a good friend in that way. We talk about everything. I learned a lot about her, actually, going more in depth about her background, her family. She talks so openly about losing her brother in a very sudden way and how she and her family were able to get through that difficult time. We talk about who she is outside of being an amazing boss-ass marketing pro. And we talk about what she believes she wants her legacy to be in this world. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you will notice that the quality and the camera quality in this interview is top notch. And that's because I had asked my friend Kyle, who also works as a videographer at the network I work at. I asked him if I could borrow one camera. And you know what he did? He came and brought a whole freaking production set and like set it up, and it looks gorgeous and looks beautiful. So for you podcast listeners, if you get a chance, just hop on over to the YouTube version to see how beautifully Kyle put together this interview. I mean, just take a look at this behind the scenes of him setting it up. Amazing. I could not ask for better friends, I'm telling you. And Kyle, outside of work, does this for fun. He just sets up shots. But no, it is absolutely gorgeous, and I could not believe my luck to have a friend who's good at video and audio. So you'll notice the quality on both ends. Check it out on YouTube, seriously. So without further ado, here's my great friend in high definition, Lauren Sawyer. Lauren, this is wild. First of all, usually just like one little camera, okay, for my podcast, and then us just gabbing. But this whole full production?
I mean, when you bring two professional producers together and also her photog, who is extraordinarily generous and kind.
Literally.
This is what you get.
This is crazy.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
Honestly. And it's so funny because this is outside of work, but it's crazy how work leaks into the creativity and basically what we've been doing for a lot of our lives.
Yeah, it's not to get too deep like immediately, but it's because I think we do what we do because of who we are, and that is whether we're at work or not at work.
So you think like intrinsically, even if it's outside of a job, it's like that's just who you are. That's how you're going to approach something.
Yes. Everywhere you go, there you are.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. Like for you love bringing community together. You love, having events. And I've been to a couple of the events that you've done. First of all, perfectly, beautifully done. And
second of all, always more than grateful to have your help because I know I can count on you to not screw it up.
I got you, girl.
Number
Listen,
one.
We gotta help each other out here. But like, when I go to those, it's outside of your job, usually, but you bring in the organization, the heart. That's what a lot of people say. It's like it has a personal touch and like a care to it that I think you're right. You're like, yeah, it's intrinsically in you. Like you're gonna show up if it's for work or if it's just for yourself and some women that you bring together.
Thank you. Yeah, I found that showing up the same in everything I do has helped me have a little more sanity. It's like about being one version of myself, no matter where I am and who I'm talking to.
Instead of trying to be a chameleon.
Mm-hmm. Although, to be fair, I'm very charismatic, so I can definitely talk to a lot of people. But like, I try not to compromise on my values or like the way that I approach things, regardless of like who I'm talking to, where I'm at. So like somebody has more quote unquote power than me, and it's like you get the same respect as the janitor.
As it should be, honestly.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, I think that it was a hard learned lesson of spending a lot of time as like a people pleaser. I may have swung a little too hard to non-people pleasing.
I like that though, because I'm still very much trying to strip my people pleasing ways.
That's fair.
And it's really hard. It's really hard to be like, oh, but I still want you to like me. But why?
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like becoming more confident that like who I am is enough, and not that I have to do something to be appreciated or loved. And so like I recently went through another like interview season of my life after losing a job, and it was something that I was like really looking for, like just so intensely, and being a little discouraged when I didn't find it, of like, who is going to show up to this interview and treat me like a person and want to get to know me as a human? Because at the end of the day, like, you're hiring a person, not a resume.
Yeah.
So if someone was just like grilling me on my resume, it was like very hard for me to process. And I literally even called the CEO out on it. And I was like, I don't want this job at this point because I can't work with you like this. And so I was like, I know I'm about to throw this whole interview and I don't care because I want this woman to like hear me right now. And I was like, do you realize this isn't conversational? because she was just like throwing questions at me like over and over and over without like any feedback whatsoever, and just like drilling into like metrics and like what I've accomplished. And it's like, you didn't even ask me like how my day was. Like, and I don't think that's overrated. Like, I don't think it's too fluffy for business. I think that it is actually essential to approach people as people first.
Exactly. Because then I think that's when people are going to be able to do their best work. But I also love that you called her out. Like, okay, but so this isn't really working out here. Like, you already knew immediately, because people are always like, oh, when you're in an interview, you're also interviewing them.
Correct.
Right? And so for you knew immediately. You're like, nah, this is not going to be it. Which I've never even thought of in my head to be like, I can be the one who's like, no, I've had enough. Relationship is not going to work out. It's always like, let me try to get a job.
Right. Yeah. So that I think has to come from like a place of a lot of trust and for me and my faith in the Lord of like the Lord will provide. And it's like, he doesn't want me to be this unhappy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. And they were hiring pre-launch. So that was a startup that like hadn't even like officially gotten a single client yet. And I was like, if I'm going to be in it with you, like so deeply embedded in your company
like
that
we're creating something from the ground.
Yeah, that it will not even come to the public market without my effort with you. Like, I have to really, really connect with you as a person to be working with you 24/7. And if we can't do that, then I have to walk away from this role.
That's awesome.
Because like, seriously, if you're that in it with someone, like you got to be in it together as partners, and not just because they want something out of you. So
I love that. This is it. Lauren, you are just, I love talking to you. I love how like firm you are in who you are and what you value. And so, I mean, we totally went straight into the podcast. First of all,
this is how we do.
I know. Let's just get to it. I was telling you earlier, when we were having breakfast, like, it's not that I hate small talk. I just find it like so annoying sometimes, because I'm just like, can we just like talk about,
we have a lot of catching up to do at all times. So we're doing it.
Let's like really get into it. But like, thank you for inviting me to your beautiful apartment.
You're welcome.
Outside of work, outside of the studio of my normal podcasting area is gorgeous. And what I like to start with and, ask people, which you kind of really already kind of answered a bit, is who are you?
Ooh, wow. Okay. What comes to mind first is a child of God. Second of all, what's really important to me in my life and how I define myself is as a daughter and a sister, and I try to be the best friggin' friend I can. Yeah. I always really want to be a good friend to other people. I've definitely lived through a lot of my life without actually having good friends.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe at this point. But until I lived in New York and until we met at the International Radio and Television Society Foundation, IRTS, shout out.
10 years strong.
Fellowship. Yeah, 10 years ago. I didn't really have that good of friends. And so it's actually like kind of a newer thing for me to have a lot of friends. And it's an experiment in seeing how many people I can actually support. Like, I just want to like keep going. I don't think there's a ceiling.
What do you think it was before that just led to not such great friendships?
A couple things. One is that there were fewer people to meet. Like, you're kind of in your class in school, right? And you just like, those are the people. And I had small classes. So clickiness, jealousy, other people's insecurity. Like, I was bullied a lot for like being cool with who I am.
Yeah.
And I tried to maintain that, but like, insecure people don't want to see it.
No.
Yeah.
No, they want to see you like down or like, I don't know, have your own insecurities.
Yeah. So it was like a lot of jealousy, even from like my good friends in college. And it was really sad to me because like I would support them in everything, right? It'd be like, I always want to see you win. I always think there's more room at the table.
Exactly.
And so I would still try to show up that way, but I didn't really find people who truly were on that same mentality until I was in New York. And also I had like the ability to meet so many people that I could like find those people, right? So that's where it really opened up my network in that way. And I learned a whole new piece of myself that I am also a connector.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Of just like bringing people together for projects, for work, for friendships. And then in that aspect, I went on to build a community. So also I see myself as a community builder. And then lastly, you're getting a lot of titles here. Now I'm an event marketer.
Yeah.
So, and I've never done full-time events until this most recent role, but going back to kind of my love of hospitality and getting people together, I'm super excited to get paid to do it all the time.
I'll let that last one slide because this is outside of work. So but it's more about like the community and, you know, bringing everything together. So what you said before about like you are who you are.
Yes.
And
I'm excited. I'm bringing it into my work.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm still me in my office.
I can say firsthand that you are a great friend.
Thank you.
Because I say that I have to work better of becoming a better friend because you are so consistent in reaching out and not just, you know, to be like, oh, hey, how you doing? But like reaching out, you know, inviting me to things, doing things together, you know, also seeing how I'm doing, catching me up on how you're doing. Whereas sometimes I don't talk to people for like a year and I'm like, oh, my bad. Hey, how you doing? What's up? And like, obviously friendships come in all like different sizes and shapes, but like, I don't know. I find it so fascinating that like you're able to be so consistent as a friend and like stay in touch and all that. Like, is that something you had to learn or is that just who you are as a person who likes community and, you know, loves building these beautiful friendships?
It's a good question. So I would say the first part of that is that I just am always trying to think of other people, right? So like if I find a job and I know someone's job searching and I think of you, I'm just going to send it really quick, right? So that is an opportunity to be consistent. But then the other part of this is I would argue you are good friends. And here's why. I don't necessarily think friendship is only defined as reaching out to people regularly. I think there's also something really beautiful to be said for connecting with someone maybe even many years later, which is the case with one of my best friends. We kind of lost touch for probably 6-ish years.
Wow.
5-6 years.
Yeah.
More so over college. Like to sound, not to age myself, this is going to sound ridiculous, but like FaceTime wasn't a thing yet when I was in college and unlimited texting wasn't really a thing yet when I was in college. So it was harder to be like this really, really, really like always on connected world. And so we kind of lost touch, and in a really, really hard season of life, she came back into my life to be there for me, and now we're best friends again. Yeah. And so I would say like there's not a statute of limitations on caring about people. You can always come back into someone's life with the right intentions.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. And years later, you guys found each other again. And,
I mean, it's crazy if you are reaching out to someone just because you want something from them. And different story. Yeah. Like, oh, you work at this sweet place now. Oh my God, how have you been? I see they're hiring.
Can you help me out?
Versus, you know what? I miss you. Can we get a coffee? Like, those are different conversations.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. No, I like that. It's really good. And then also the other aspect of it is just like, even before you said it, I was like, Lord, the things I think about when I think of Lauren is like community.
Thank you.
You know, you invited me to an all women's faith-based event, which and I tell people all the time, like, I hate talking about religion with other people. I've told you and you laughed at me. I said, you know, I'm a bad Catholic because I just feel like I have so many questions. I am so astounded by people who just like believe in their faith just wholeheartedly, just jump right in, you know, and are you know, very passionate about it. Whereas I feel as if I'm really not at that same depth. If anything, I have a real not a conflict, but I have questions with my own faith. I don't know. I've been pondering about maybe, let me look up Buddhism and see what that's all about. But I was I guess I was born and raised Catholic. And so that's all I know. And that's sometimes what I find comfort in, but that's also where I find a lot of conflict within myself. And so I don't talk to people a lot, especially Christians, about faith, because I'm made to feel almost like maybe I'm not faithful enough, or I'm not doing it the right way, or if I have questions and, you know, I talk to them and they have a certain point of view, like they're so set in their point of view. But when I talk to you, it's more of a conversation. It's not like you're not preaching at me. It's not like you're not doing this right. You need to do this at A, B, and C. No, for you, it's like, your faith is your faith. And let's talk about it. And this is what I feel. I'm always going to bring you in. And so I've always loved that, Thank you. About talking to you about faith.
There are a lot of things I want to talk about faith about now. We're going to unpack this.
Let's go.
First of all, thank you so much. That was so kind. Also, I would say like, that discouragement is not of the Lord, right? Like he only wants the best for you. Like that is not. But also I would say, like, in terms of having questions and sometimes being discouraged, it would be concerning if that never happened. Like, to have that in your to have that in your life is to be human.
Do you have questions about your faith?
I have, yeah, of course. Like, and like new things I'm learning, or like, you know, just things I have to grapple with. Like, so recently in March, April, I literally said a prayer because I didn't know where to go next in my career. And I never said such an open prayer as to say, Lord, do whatever you want with my career.
Okay.
Usually I was like, I want a new job. Can I have a new job as soon as humanly possible?
Okay.
I want to make money. I want to be able to provide for myself. Like, it was like I was kind of directing this path, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't really being super fruitful for the last few years. And so finally I got to this place of like a little more surrender in my faith. And I was like, just do what you want.
Interesting.
I lost my job that day
at 3
p.m.
You're probably like, bro, that's not what I meant.
Right, which is the hour of mercy. Jesus died at 3:00. And so it was a good consolation for me to be like, the Lord is in this.
Yeah.
He wanted me to lose my job today. He, as soon as I gave him permission, he was like, you're right. That reason you've been feeling unfulfilled in this job, like, this isn't for you. And now you're done and we're going to move on. And I was like, I didn't even tell my parents for 2 days because I was interviewing for another job.
You called me.
Yes,
You're like,
yes,
thank you
so much. Yeah, so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I called you and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping I would get the new job. Everything was falling through, and it can be so discouraging.
So discouraging.
And what I also think is really important to point out, and I've never told anyone this before, so I'm going to tell it to you on your podcast first, at least recorded where my parents will hear. Hi, Mom and Dad, is that I canceled the interview with my hiring manager for my current job.
Oh.
I was like so feeling not enough. And like, I felt like, oh, I'm not, like, I can tell these people think I'd be good at the job. I'm not convinced.
Interesting.
Because I was so beaten down with like getting rejected. I'd been interviewing on and off for years of my life. And it also was working in the fashion and beauty industry, which, as we know, those industries for women, like, there's such a level of like criticism that comes into play of like, am I pretty enough? Do I have the right clothes? And I've been treated very, very poorly at some like fashion and beauty events.
So you're like, I'm not really trying to go back into that.
And I was like, I've been treated poorly for long enough that like, I just like, I really got to find somewhere where I'm not just going through it. And I was like, I just don't think this is going to be it. So I emailed the recruiter and he didn't get the email in time. So he never told the hiring manager. And the hiring manager emailed me and was like, I'm so excited for our interview today.
Look at these little dominoes.
I know.
This is so funny.
I know. And so this just goes to show like you can't mess up what's meant for you.
Yeah.
Because I literally canceled the interview. And so then I called a friend, God bless her. And I was like, hey, so I'm not sure what to do. And she's like, you have to go. Yeah. And then I sat there and I realized how wonderful this opportunity was, how exceptional my hiring manager was. And I was like, that would have been the biggest mistake of my life.
Wow.
And that discouragement, I truly think was like a spiritual attack, because this was what was meant for me the whole time. And it almost got me to walk away from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I needed a friend to get me through it too. So that's why I think conversations and like strong friends and being open about where you're at is so important. Because if there was such like a thin line there where if I had just shut down and crawled back into my covers, this whole next chapter of my life would not have happened. I'm almost positive. I don't know where that would have rectified itself.
From what, our conversation today, it seems like the best move so far.
It's my favorite job I've ever had. Yeah. I've been 1 weekend and I feel like it was one of the best weeks of my life. Yeah.
Isn't that so crazy?
I'm like super valued. I love the team. I get to be so creative. I have a ton of freedom over my time, how I develop my role. It's crazy.
Must be nice. What is
right?
that like?
I was like, how does this exist? But you know what? It goes back to their values as a company, which is customer advocacy. The platform exists for customer advocacy with the idea that if you make something so exceptional, people can't help but tell people about it, and then they get on board. And so instead of just like manufacturing messaging, you build such loyalty that it's a snowball effect. And so that's how they also build the company, so that like without having to like incentivize people with gift cards or trips or, you know, kickbacks for social media posts, it's like, we want you to be so happy that you just start telling your friends about it. And because you're a great person, we know you know great people, and therefore great people will work here.
Exactly.
And I'm like, hell yeah, let's build with people at the center.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I love how you said in the beginning of this whole journey that like you said just do what you will with my career, right? And then you lost your job.
Thank you for bringing it back. So basically, I'm just kind of like, I don't just have this perfect faith where I'm like, and now I'll do the thing that's been set out for me to do. Yeah. Like, it was real messy.
Because for me, like when I lost my job, it's how's the best way to put it? So like for me, it took me a really long time to be like, I think this happened for a reason. And so where you immediately went to,
okay, what you need to know is that was the second time I'd been laid off. So I had grown in that experience.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so whereas you kind of like fell back on your faith, I kind of looked at it more ethereally, like, I think something else is meant to happen here. I think I've been holding on with the vice grip to this job, this role, this persona that I've had for so long that I would not have been able to look at other opportunities, other things without a dramatic shift. And because I'm so stubborn, God, the universe, whatever. And then this is not context that we're talking about. God was like, you know what? Boop, that's done with. Now figure it out. You know? Yeah. And it has been a crazy, crazy mental exploration. So that's why I find it very fascinating that like you are very, very faith-based. And is that how you grew up? Is that where it comes from? Like how did you become so deeply entrenched?
Was born and raised Catholic in the Catholic Church. I am more practicing, I would say, than my family at this point, and it is because of the community that I found and built in New York.
Wow, New York was a real changing point.
Wow. Yeah, because I joined a ministry team here. There's strong young adult community. And then I also just saw over time like how needed it was of people just trying to find good friends, trying to find hope. And I was like, yeah, I mean, New York can be such a lonely place. And so I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to like keep helping build this community because any little bit that I can offer, I think is like worth it. Because I would not be where I am without people having done it for me to make those opportunities. And so I just want to like keep paying that forward.
Exactly. Wow.
And then I think it's still who we are.
Yeah.
I mean, we both joined a media fellowship where one of the main tenets was like, these are your people now. You help each other in your cohort make it in their career. And we're literally still connected. And I love that so much.
10
and it's
years
like,
later.
Yeah. And so it's like that's how I operate, is like I invest in people.
How is it that you're able to just like have these conversations with me, someone who probably isn't as, you know, faithful as you, and not want to like wring my neck?
Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy, literally.
That's an interesting question. I would say because
I've spoken with people who are just like not tolerant of any of my questions at all.
Well, okay. I don't believe in like judging people, first of all. That's not fair. I mean, I'm not perfect. I have like so much room to grow. I'm not a saint. And also like, how do we grow? How do we form relationships if we're not willing to like just be real?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not here to like change anybody unless they want to be having transformation in their life that is good for them.
Yeah.
And then if that's true, you can't get rid of me.
Yeah, that's true.
To know me is to be invited.
Exactly. I love it. And so we talked about your friends, and now I want to kind of like switch over to your family.
Yeah.
And you were actually adopted from a Catholic.
I was adopted through the Catholic Charities.
Yeah. Yeah. How was that?
As a little baby.
Yeah. like brand new out the womb,
from
or like
the hospital.
A little,
Yep. And then my older sister was adopted. A little bit older. She'd been in foster care for a while. And then my parents were able to have my brother. So older sister, I'm the middle, and then little younger brother. So I knew that my whole life. And I think that was a really important way that my parents like kind of approached it. And then the other thing is that the ball was always in my court, which I really appreciate in terms of like I was able to initiate contact if I wanted to. It was like, we're never going to force
with
this
your
on
birth
you.
parents. Okay.
It was like, we're never going to force this on you. And so I have met my birth mother and her biological daughter, who's my like full sibling, through birth, her name. And so I've met them a couple times. And it's always been on my terms. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a wild thing. It's a wild thing to like manage those relationships and those feelings between like wanting my parents to like make sure that they know that I love them and I see them as my parents.
Absolutely.
But then also have space for this other family that like holds me in their hearts. But I didn't grow up with them and I don't know them personally, but I am like biologically related to. So it's something that I actually am working through like very consistently, but how it impacts my life, I would say, is like one thing, always wanting to like reach my potential and like help people and just keep the bigger picture of life at stake or in my mind, because like, you know, the reason I was adopted is my parents had me when they were teenagers. They were in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it's like
very young.
I know. And so it's like this was such a sacrifice of not getting to know me and raise me. I know this to be true. I know it's a hardship for at least my birth mother.
It was hard for her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, imagine not raising your own kid. So it's like I've been given such an opportunity that came at such a high cost that like I don't want to screw it up. And I don't know that anyone would hold it against me. It's something like internally on my own. But is that part of why I graduated valedictorian in high school and college? Perhaps.
Dang. Oh my goodness. I'm not surprised. I didn't know that.
To be fair,
Jeez.
I wasn't the only one. Classes weren't weighted. So there was like 15 of us in kind of both levels. But I just am like, yeah, it really has driven me to be like, let me see how far I can go and how much I can like do and achieve. And that's not exactly what life is about, of achieving things, but it has kind of shaped my perspective. And like I've been given a whole new life with so much more opportunity. Like how much of that can I like soak up?
I see. I got you. That kind of thinking is kind of the same mentality I have as an immigrant. And so, you know, like I think back to my dad who came here for college, got like a visa and everything. And then my mom, you know, who, you know, we came a bit afterwards and they were young, you know what I mean? My mom had me when she was 21 and they did everything they could to give us like the best life ever. Like I never wanted for anything. And so with that opportunity, I'm like, you know, I look back at some of my family back in Kenya and I'm like, bro, I've been given the biggest opportunity. How could I be so lucky? What can I do with this? So I think I completely understand what you mean by like, what do I do with this opportunity that I've been presented with? And why not try to achieve, you know, as much as I can, as best as I can. Yeah, without losing myself in the process.
Yeah, and it also comes into play for me in relationships. Like I don't really do casual. I mean, I don't do casual friendships either. Like if you're my friend,
All
like
in.
I friggin' care. Like I just I approach everything the same, you know. Like I take my relationships with my coworkers seriously. I take my relationships with my neighbors seriously, you know. And so like that's never really been my MO of like I'm just gonna do this for fun. It's like I'm not in it for that. Like I'm not making the mistakes, you know. And I don't want to. I hate to call it that. I don't think I'm a mistake. I think I'm meant to be here.
Absolutely.
You know. But like I just think like that shapes my perspective a lot too. Is that it's like where I'm gonna learn from this experience and take that in stride, and like I'm gonna change like the course of my family's like generations.
This is so cool. When did you meet your birth mother?
It's a good question. I was probably in my early 20s the first time. It was like a lunch, and then we recently went on a little trip to Nashville. I joined their family vacation. So that was really something. Yeah, that was right after I lost my job. So it was in like April, May.
How was like to join that family?
Wild.
That you didn't grow up with.
Yeah, it was really weird. Because like I felt like a guest, even though it was a family vacation. And it was weird for them to have to explain to people like who I am. It was like, oh, Lauren's a family friend, you know? I don't begrudge them any of that. I think it was nice to build that relationship. I think what will be the next step is if we do go further in building that relationship, it's just going to have to be my birth mom and I. There's always been other people.
I see.
And I think there's some like really deep conversations that we need to have like one-on-one.
Why didn't you have these conversations earlier if you had the access to her anytime you wanted?
It's a good question. I think it's just both of us trying to respect each other's boundaries. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's just like hard. Cause there's like, as you know, like when you open a door to certain relationships and conversations, you can never go back.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, part of me doesn't want to know the answer to some of these things.
Interesting. You wouldn't want to know at all.
I think eventually.
Maybe not now.
Yeah. It's just a wild thing because I don't really know all the like psychographics of it or like psychology of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's something to be said of like when you go back to these relationships and these experiences, you kind of approach it from the age that you were when it happened.
Oh.
I'm not a therapist. Don't quote me on this.
Okay.
I don't know what that philosophy is. And so like it becomes a little hard to approach the relationship from the perspective of the adult that I am.
Yeah.
And not like the hurt that I lived through as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously there's like inherent trauma in being separated from your parents,
Absolutely.
even when it's for all the right reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did they live in the same state?
They did. I just like didn't really grow up knowing them other than like sending letters.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But to be clear, like I'm very grateful. I think this
course.
is what was meant to happen. I'm glad that we have a level of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, it's very clear to me throughout the course of my life. That I needed to be in my family, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
They needed me and I needed them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of those experiences that made that very, very clear to me, and I know I'm bringing it up because I know you wanted to talk about it, is when my brother passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did they show up for you then?
So, I mean, not necessarily like my birth family. It was like more so like me being home for my parents, right?
Exactly.
Everyone asks,
Yeah.
the siblings, like, how your parents are doing, which is an interesting predicament because it's like, yo, hi, but how am I doing, you know? And so they obviously took care of me, but I think like it was hard to see them ever smile. And I try to bring such like optimism and positivity to every situation, that it was like helpful for me to be there in moving back into the house with them after that happened, to just kind of like keep trying to inject life into that situation. And like bring them out of that devastation, because as hard and horrible as it was for me, I will never know the level of devastation that was for my parents. Yeah.
Like I can like I think about that all the time, and I remember when that happened, and me and my siblings were so close, and I cannot imagine having a hole in that bond. And so I just, I really think about it, and I just feel as if like I'd be so heartbroken, and I don't know how you go through that. How do you get through that?
So it took a really long time, and every day's different. It was funny because I applied for a job right after that happened, and it was like a faith-based job, and I literally wrote in my job application like, I have not been broken by this experience. And that was literally the epitome of denial. I probably had never been more broken in my entire life.
Yeah.
But it was a very providential job to have on the road working for Catholic Art Work Camp. God bless everybody I worked with, because I was in a real intense, rocky season of life. But what was really interesting about that job is we had mass basically every day and adoration at least every week. And so I would sometimes just sit behind my media booth. I was like the media director. I did the AV, and I would just like cry for like an hour, just like tears. But, like in adoration, we believe as Catholics, like in the Eucharist is the true presence of Jesus Christ. Yeah. And that in and of itself is healing. And so it's not necessarily just about like, am I doing the things to keep my faith, like of like praying a rosary, going to church. Like a lot of times, like the blessing of the sacraments is like how the Lord can be there for you and not you necessarily showing up for him. And so in those moments, like I was able to just like be sad and be weak and get filled up.
I see.
Yeah.
Do you feel as if you got deeper into your faith in that moment?
Yeah, I didn't really have a choice, honestly. The way I see it is, it was like,
I feel as if I would be like, why did you do this? I'm gonna be so far away from you. It's gonna be, you will never find me again.
Right, exactly. That's how it goes. Like so many people will just run away and shut down. But I was kind of like, if I don't come to this source of hope and this source of love and this source of peace, I will have none of that at this point. Like I was like, I'm desperate for peace. I'm desperate for hope. And so it was like, I have to keep coming back to this. And it's just like little by little of like healing, of just like the people I met, receiving the Eucharist, the graces of Mass. I don't even know what all the Lord did in my life to bring me here. But over a lot of time that has healed. And I think now where I'm at in that experience is like, I just am so acutely aware that like everybody has gone through some hard freaking stuff. And so like, if you don't treat people as best as you possibly can, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Because it's like, sometimes you might be the only person who has cared about somebody that day.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Tell me about your brother.
Oh, thank you. So Lucas passed away when he was 20. He was a Marine. He had studied diesel mechanics. He also was studying electronics. He kind of wanted to be a farmer when he grew up. We owned a farm in the town. Yeah. He drove a pickup truck. Yeah. Like a white Chevy pickup truck.
Very Nebraska.
That he could always be counted on to like help you move. Oh my gosh. He loved fishing. He was like super into the 4th of July, just like lighting crap on fire all the time. But he would go pick it up. He would like clean the whole block, like go scrape it out of everybody's yards. He was an Eagle Scout. And so like a lot of people looked up to him in that. And like for me, what was the hardest part about losing my brother to suicide is that it felt like there was something I could have done. Like it didn't feel out of my control. And I think like that has been a really important learning too, is that everybody has like autonomy over their own lives. And there just has to be a way where like, as much as you care for people, you also have to understand that like their decisions are their own. Exactly. And also like, the other part of the grief, like you talking about how close you were with your brother, is like, I wasn't as close with him as I had hoped. And so like it felt like such a chapter of my life was stolen from me, and that I always felt like there was time. And so now I definitely also have like a philosophy that I've leaned into of like, anytime you think of doing something nice for someone, you just do it. Yeah, you just do it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That is, thank you so much.
You bet.
Lucas
And it's, and I'm really,
amazing.
I'm like grateful today to not be in like, shambles talking about it. I've done a podcast on my own series where it's been harder.
I was going to say.
It just, like I said, it depends on the day. I appreciate like, I feel good like chatting about with you. I just think it's important to like continue to just like make the world a better place and like really give people hope, because I would never want someone to be that like low in their lives as well. Yeah,
exactly. It's amazing to see how far you've come from it, because I'm always amazed at people who can go through the craziest, hardest, in my opinion, hardest moments in their life and continue, and like you, continue being great.
Here's the thing though, like I was clinically depressed for a few years. Like I couldn't get out of bed to get to work on time for about a year. And my boss finally said something to me, and she wasn't kind about it. She was like, "What's with you being in late? Like, people are saying things." I was like, "Who are the people?" It was her. And it really stuck with me that before criticizing me, she didn't ask if I was okay.
Exactly. Like, what's going on?
Because the behavior had changed. Exactly. I used to be early and I started becoming late, and it wasn't drastic. It was like 5 to 15 minutes late, but it was every day because I was having such a hard time getting out of bed. It would take everything I had. And that actually reminds me that like where I had some of that breakthrough was I did a Marian consecration. And so what that is like you dedicate your life to Our Lady through prayer. And she kind of intercedes for you. Okay. And so people like, this is a really common misconception about Catholic people is that we pray to Mary. Yeah. And it's like, actually the concept of praying to a saint or like Our Lady, the Virgin Mary, is that you ask them to pray on your behalf to Jesus. So we still believe that Jesus answers those prayers. It's just like asking your friends or your family to pray for you. Only you're asking your friends and your family in heaven. So there you go. And so that was even really, really hard. Like it was a 30-day book that I read. Like you do a little bit of a reading every day and it brings you closer to doing this final prayer. It's called like 30 Days to Morning Glory is the book. And it was so hard to like even read those few pages every day. Wow. But I was like, this is important. Like I need to get through this. And like at the end, it started to like lift. Yeah. And I really like believe that is by the intercession of Our Lady. Wow. And I believe like you can kind of go through it again and like reconsecrate yourself. And it's like, I really needed that extra like intercession. Like I could not do it by myself. And then on top of that, like I had this worry that like every prayer I was praying for my brother, like, oh, please, like let him be in heaven and everything, or for my family or people struggling with mental health wasn't enough. And what's so consoling about doing a consecration to Our Lady is that she will then purify your prayers.
You get a referral.
Yeah, exactly. She brings it to our Lord in its most beautiful form. So me showing up as a child and being terrible at praying and not knowing what I should pray for, like she makes it right. I see. And so I was like, okay, now I can sleep at night because I know that like this prayer is going where it's needed most.
Yeah. Like she's got me. She'll translate it.
And I can prove it. Like literally at one point after that, I was praying for my sister and I put in my prayer journal, sister plus mom's relationship, and that's what it said. And I prayed for this for like at least a month. Her birth mom reaches out.
Wow.
And I was like, that's not what I was praying for, but guess where that prayer went?
And the birth mom had not reached out before.
She hadn't reached out in years. The communication had been lost through like the agency. Okay. It just didn't make it to my sister, and she was worried that my sister didn't want to talk to her, but it just like was a miscommunication. Okay. And so now they have a relationship.
That's amazing.
And I don't think it would have happened had I not said those prayers and had I not done that consecration. Yeah, because it redirected it where it was actually needed, and I would have never known that.
Would you say your faith saved your life?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I wouldn't say it saved my life. I would say that it brought so much more meaning and depth and joy. Okay. So much joy.
Joy?
Yeah. That's not from me. That's absolutely a gift. Wow. Yeah.
What was that dynamic like growing up in your family with your parents, your sister, your brother? How was that dynamic like?
Well, we're so different. Yeah. Like the toast that I gave at my sister's wedding is like, she likes black, I like pink, she likes hats, I like shoes.
Complete opposites.
Yeah. Like she is like the engineering person. She's an engineer. I work in events, marketing, creativity. My job is chaos. Her job is systems. But where we really like meet each other in the middle, I would say, is like having passions. Like she's passionate about sewing. I'm passionate about media, you know? Like we both love art. There's film that we both like. We both like superheroes. Because I love stories, obviously. And like, and with my brother, he was more of the outdoorsy person. My sister and my brother were a little closer because there was a bigger age gap. I feel like you always get along better with the bigger age gap siblings.
You think so?
You don't think so?
No. I don't know. It's a bit different
because you don't have to go to school with them.
So you get along better that way?
That's what I think.
I don't know. I think it's the other way because me and my older sister, we're like I would say we're like the tightest, and then like the next two younger, they're literally like less than a year apart. They're very tight. Okay. And then our younger brother, sometimes I'm like, okay, this is a relationship that like I'm trying to grow a bit more because he's 13 years younger than me, and so I have to like make sure that I'm not like acting like a parent to him basically, or you know what I mean, or like being this bit. It's like, no, I'm your sister, like let's chill and let's talk about this. So like I feel as if there's a bit of a disconnect if I'm being honest, and so with my older sister we're like closer in that way.
Well, that actually was like a dynamic with my brother as well. Is like I very much like defaulted to kind of mom mode.
Yeah, and you can't with your sibling. I know, but being the older sister, especially the older sister, where you're like, there's a lot more responsibility, there's a lot more pressure, so it's kind of hard to, because I did that all the time too, and I had to take a step back, be like, nah, we need to change this, because they're not gonna come talk to me when they want to.
Fair, yes. So then that became something that like over time I realized, like this, like me just sharing the good parts of my life. I was like, oh, maybe it's helpful for me to point out the things that I'm sucking at too.
Yeah. No, seriously. And then they're like, oh, she's regular too. Like, me. She's not just achieving. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because he wasn't as much of a school person and I loved academics. Okay. But like, like, sweet, you have super great skills of like actually fixing things and, you know, like, great, you have practical skills. I just write essays. Like,
you want me to help you with your writing?
Yeah, let me know.
You.
Yeah,
like,
you want me to help you write your speech for speech class?
And you can help me put the dresser together.
Me. Yeah. So I think, I mean, I wish we'd been all a little closer, but it's something that like I'm putting a lot of effort into now.
Exactly. Yeah. The life kind of shows you in different ways, you know, where to put your energies and where, you know, you could become a better sister, friend, person. So I think that's good. And then, you know, something that I'm grappling with now too as I get older, I just celebrated my 31st birthday.
Yeah, girl.
And, you know, my parents are getting, they're not that old. I mean, my mom's, you know, they're in their mid 50s.
Are you allowed to say that? Anyway, carry on.
It's okay. This is a thing that I do with my podcast. Aging is a privilege. Aging is a privilege.
I completely agree. Parents don't always anyway.
Yeah. And so, how are you grappling with your parents getting older? Because I don't know how I'm grappling with it.
That's a good question. So it was wild when I just went home.
Yeah.
But before starting this job, because I was so close to permanently moving home if I hadn't got my job.
Oh, thank goodness you got this. I could not have survived with you
not
not in New York City anymore.
Well, I was just like, well, what if that's what's meant for me?
No, never.
And so one day, perhaps. Yes. So I've always said I'd move back if I was needed there. So it made me a little sad that like now's not the time. And I was like, oh, when will that be?
Interesting. It made you sad that
I'm here because it's like I think this job is going to go well. I think it's going to be long term. So I thought I would be back within like a couple years, and now it's like I don't know. We have like a big question mark again.
Do you feel like you're missing time with them? Is that
a little bit? Yeah. Like I was ready to just like be around a little more. But the good news is I also was reminded that they're doing okay. Yeah. Like they didn't really need me. You know, a little bit of that was in my head. And so, you know, like it is their job to be the parents still. I'm going to let them keep doing that. And then when they ask, I will always be there as best as I can. And I do have the flexibility to go back. So we're just going to keep figuring it out as we go. Yeah. But like, I would say the good news was to see for my own eyes that a little bit of that was like my own fear and what was in my head. And like, they're doing okay.
They're doing okay.
Yeah.
They're doing okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. I don't know. I just like, I'm trying to spend as much time as I can with them, kind of like you are, you know, because we only have so much time. I don't know why.
But if it makes you feel better, I've also realized to myself, like, it'll never be enough.
I know.
Yeah. And it almost makes me feel better.
Because
I'm like, I will do as much as I can. And then I have to be okay with that. Okay. Because it's like, even if I found another day a week to be at my parents' house and I was living in Nebraska instead of in New York City, that it was still wouldn't be enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good way to calm the anxiety.
Yeah. It's like you like sort of moving it. And not even like I could move back home, see them all day, every day, and it wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Okay. And I think I also want to like start doing like something special a month with my parents, like maybe like once a month or something. Me and my mom go get like our nails done or like go to a spa or like you just do anything, just do something, because right now
make memories.
I feel as if I could be make memories so that I'm not looking back like, oh man, I had all this time with them and I didn't do anything. I didn't get to truly understand them as people. And that's the other thing too, like getting older, you're like, oh my gosh, our parents are people. Our parents, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like my age, they were doing this, and this, and I can't even imagine, having done that. So I think that's another thing that I'm
I
grappling
will say
with.
I'm going to make more of an intention to learn more of the stories of their lives because they're not the storytellers to the degree that I am, you are.
Yes.
It has to be pulled out, but
Can
it's so fun.
Can I tell you?
Tell
and
me.
Kyle's already going to help me with this. Kyle, I'm looking at you
Shout out to
because you
Kyle.
already said you would help me with this. I want to do a legacy video
Well, yeah.
of them.
As you should.
And you already knew I was going to say that. But like it's I want them to sit down and tell me everything. Because I don't know if your parents are like this one, but my parents omit a lot of things. They're like, yeah, you're just not gonna, I'm not gonna tell you about, I don't know certain parts of their life.
I think it's like a generational thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to sit down, get literally everything, record everything. Not just, it's not so much for me, but for their story, to live on. And so we understand it. And so it's just something that we'll always have.
I'm not convinced that I'm going to get them on video, but I'm going to try asking on the phone and like writing it down and making more of like a book.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Yeah. I want to know. I want to know the stories.
Exactly. What do you want to know about your parents?
It's a good question. Honestly, a lot of it is like what their childhood was like and like kind of more so what their life was like when they were kind of my age. Just like all the pre-me things, And just like, yeah, I just love hearing the memories of like what they experienced. And I think it's important. And I just want to know them better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And then a couple more questions.
Okay.
What do you like to do outside of work?
Ooh. Well, we already talked about community building. So I love running my community. Shout out to Rise and Come Alive. And then also I love Broadway theater. I love going to shows.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. I would say like part of it, and I always say is because I think it's one of the last things that people do fully present. Yeah. Because you have to put your phone away.
So true.
Yeah, like even at concerts or like sporting events, like you can have your phone out.
Yeah, unless you go to like a Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle comedy
so
comedy show where they put it in like one of those bags.
Nice. So that's like important to me
so
to like have lived experiences where I'm just like not totally in my head, and also just like the live like connection of seeing someone do the thing that they were meant to do.
Yes.
It's super cool. It's like a co-created experience because like the energy of the audience does matter.
Absolutely.
So I really like that. I love music, so I like going to like musical performances. I host a concert on my roof every year. I prayed for this apartment because I wanted a roof so that if there were ever another like lockdown-y thing, I could still get people together so I wouldn't lose my mind again. I work out with a trainer on Saturdays.
Let's go.
I've been doing that for 5 years.
Love that.
Shout out to Danelle. She'll eventually have to be on my pod. Yeah, that was a big lifeline in the pandemic when we started working out. And then we record podcasts.
Exactly.
That's obviously that's what you do for fun.
Yeah. Who doesn't
obviously
do that for fun? Come on now. Well, I just saw Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
On Friday.
Yeah.
A couple days ago with my friend. Amazing. So great. And also Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child was in it.
Yeah.
So
iconic.
when she like caught up, like the whole crowd was going crazy. They were like, "Wah! We did not expect her to be here," because I think she missed like a week where she went to Beyonce's tour.
Okay.
The Cowboy Carter one, whatever. What was the last show you saw?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it was the last 5 years with Joe Jonas. It's
That's what it's called? The last 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard of it.
Wild plot. It's about the beginning and end of a relationship, and it's told by just the two characters in the relationship.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's in New York City. So
interesting. And Joe's one of the...
Oh, did I say Joe Jonas? Nick Jonas.
Nick Jonas? Okay.
Yeah, Nick Jonas was in it. He has done a little Broadway previously.
Good for him.
I sometimes like bittersweet shows too. I love like a little bit of like reality. Like I love a fluffy, beautiful show with like the fancy show tunes and the sparkles. But I also sometimes
which is literally what Death Becomes Becomes Her is.
But I sometimes like the like sadness too, because like especially like when my brother passed away, I went to a lot of sad movies because it was just helpful to like see other people going through that and have the permission to process that.
Yeah,
like I could just empathize.
That's real.
And so sometimes I like a little bit of a bittersweet show too.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Life.
Yeah. And Lauren, what would you want your legacy to be?
It's a really good question. I think just being authentic.
Yeah.
having lived a full life in alignment with like the Lord's plan for me. And also, I would say to fill heaven up with all my friends. Yeah. I want to get there and recognize a lot of people and recognize a lot of people later.
You know,
that'd be fun.
Hopefully you'll open the door for me. I'll just be on the outside like, hey, open up. I'm here.
That would be my great honor. That'd be a great honor.
No, I love that, Lauren. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
You have a lot of love. You really care about the people who are in your life. And clearly you're trying to create a more joyful life for yourself outside of work, outside of everything, you know, crazy that goes on. And I just think you're so resilient.
Thank you.
I love being your friend. Seriously, I'm so glad
it's the best. I love being your friend.
I'm so glad we're still friends 10 years down the line, hopefully 10 and many more to come. So thank you so much for coming on.
You bet. Love you.
Love you too, girly. Hey there, one more thing before you go. First, thank you so much for watching and listening. You didn't have to. You could have done literally anything else with your time. So I am so appreciative. Number two, if you liked what you heard or you resonated with anything, please like, comment, subscribe. Do all the things. All the links will be in the show notes so we can continue exploring this wild, weird, wacky, and awesomely wonderful world outside of work.
Everywhere you go, there you are.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one.